What's up, everybody? Flake here. Today, you're going to have an awesome conversation. Got an awesome guest with me. I'll pass it over. I'll let her introduce herself. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Fleek, for having me on today. I appreciate you inviting me over and joining you for a conversation today.
Yeah. I see you out in the community at events. You doing events, and I'm like, let me see what she's about, her story, and give the people some attention on what you do and what you know, the information you bring.
Okay.
So definitely happy about you connecting with me here. Can we start by your origin story?
Sure.
You know, from when you first got bit by a spider to making you this super person right now. So, just the origin of you.
Sure. Thank you. Okay. So I'm Kylie Elizabeth. I also go by the Virtuoso Educator. If you guys are starting to see me around on social media, I'm from Kenosha, Wisconsin, and I moved to Arizona during the pandemic, so June of 2020, and I love it here in Arizona. I've really just been kind of putting my feet to the ground since I moved here, but I'll kind of back up a little bit. So I'm an educator by trade. I have been in education over 10 plus years. Ever since middle school and elementary, I used to sing all the time. So I love choir, and I went to school in middle school and high school. I loved being in choir. So I decided I wanted to be a choir teacher for middle school or high school, because that's where I genuinely connected with my teachers. And just as a student, I really enjoyed my time in the world of music and being around my peers and my friends. A lot of great memories around music. So I just wanted to continue to do that, and kind of my teachers really inspired me in the choirs, and I really just wanted to be like them. So I went to school at UW Parkside, which is in Kenosha, and I had received my bachelor's in vocal music. And I started teaching some middle school musicals and things of that sort, private voice lessons, just very kind of basic. And, in the world of education, which is really interesting, and we'll get there later, there's different ways to teach different content in education, especially if it's outside of the core academic courses. So long story short, when I was at UW Parkside, I wasn't able to complete my my education license certificate, because the school had shut down their education department for a brief time, because they had to do some fixing on their end. And I was a student that got caught in the middle of not being able to complete that program, because I wasn't already enrolled when that transition happened. So instead of getting my music education certificate, I just got my music certificate. And then, I'm like, I still want to teach. I still want to do something. So I started doing long-term subbing in Racine, Wisconsin, and a culinary position had opened up at one of the high schools in Racine. And you're all like, where did culinary come from? So my grandmother actually ran a catering company ever since I was 8 years old, and I began working with her at the age of 9. And so from 9 to 23, I was in the catering world. We did weddings. We did religiously every Friday, a Friday fish fry, all of those years. I don't eat fish because of that. I learned the ins and outs of running a catering business, a restaurant, and hospitality, events, weddings, all of those things. So that really kind of got the bug in me as well to do event planning. I know, which we'll touch base on later. And so in Wisconsin, they have what's called a vocational certificate, where if you have experience in certain content in areas, that you can teach it. And as well, and here in Arizona, they have a similar process in the career and technical ed department as well. So I got my license, my vocational license to teach, and I thought it was going to be just a quick couple of years, but no, I ended up being there for 7 years, teaching culinary arts and family and consumer sciences at the high school, which I loved every bit of it. Throughout those 7 years, I had worked on my master's. It took me about 4 years to complete my master's, so towards the end. So I did receive my master's in education with my licenses in instructional curriculum and instruction and administrative leadership as well. So
yeah.
that's kind of where the education side comes from. And
Can I say something? It
Yeah.
sounds like you can put together an amazing event with your background in music,
Yes.
food,
Yes.
and just planning. Like
Yes.
you were built for that. Okay.
So, well, if anybody here in Phoenix area, if you're familiar with Grassroots Bookstore, I'm the one that puts on the Black History Month events. We've been doing it for the last 3 years. This year we have our 4th one coming up, and so yeah, I love event planning because it encompasses all the things, and especially bringing in the performances with music and in the food, of course, but just I'm a very detail-oriented person, both in my computer work as well as like my teaching style and just kind of running things. And so people actually come to me like, hey, how do we organize this and plan? You'll see for my business, I do, so my business is Virtuoso Education Consulting Services, and Virtuoso, everybody's like, what does that even mean? So that just means somebody that's well-rounded, that has like a lot of experience in different things. And so for me, that term really kind of identified me as a person because I'm just like all over the place and I have options. So I love using that. And so you'll see Organize, Streamline, Thrive as my caption there for my business because I really like to just, again, be very detailed and organized. So kind of like reverting back to before I got here, I ended up graduating in May of 2020, and I was wanting an administrative role. And I realized in Wisconsin, I wasn't going to get what I was looking for. And in the district that I was in, I didn't see that climb. So I kind of had a plan to move to Arizona, and opportunity came for me to move. So I moved here and kind of packed me and my kids. My grandmother came with as well. She wanted to move, and my cat, my guinea pig, we kind of up and came. And ever since then, it's just been really good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So you're here in Arizona. Is that when you started the Virtuoso company? And what brought that about? The reason for creating your business?
Sure. So when I first moved here, I didn't start my business until 2021. So 2020, anybody that's looking to move, secure a job before you move. Yeah. Teachers, it's not easy to transfer states. And that is a hard lesson I learned. I was excited about moving, and it took me a long time to get a position here in Arizona in the education field because reciprocity across states isn't very clear. And because I had that alternative certificate in Wisconsin, it wasn't recognized here in Arizona. So it took me a little bit to kind of secure a position, and I ended up working with a nonprofit organization that had a small school setting, and I was their education coordinator. So while I was in the role of like being a coordinator, I established a lot of curriculum, and I established a lot of resources and professional development for the teachers that we were working with. And just all of the documentation, the meeting notes, like anything you think of about organizing a business and even in a school setting, I'm like, okay, so I'm doing this for other people, and I'm doing this for this role, and I know I'm really good at it. Like, how can I do this for more people and share this information? So I thought about what I wanted to do for a business model, and for a long time, I'm like, okay, I really want to do this. What would this look like? And so I then created the Virtuoso Education Consulting Services to provide those services to either nonprofits or to schools or businesses that are looking for supports in those fields.
If I was like a Daddy Warbucks just balling with the money right now, and I ran into you in the elevator, how would you pitch me the company to go, I'll invest into that?
Oh, see, that's an awesome question. It's kind of embarrassing. That's
I like condensing things down.
Yes.
Into
Yes.
I'm gonna jump in or jumping out.
Yes.
Not Shark Tank style, but just.
And that's great, and that's an awesome question. And that actually really makes you think. And I think that's still where I struggle, honestly, just to be straight up to this day. Like, how do I condense it all into one? Because, right, I just listed all of the things that I like to do. Yeah. And somebody even told me, they're like, you have a business, so what is like your main focus. Like, who is your main focus? And, you know, my main focus really is, if we're talking education, it really is the parents. And so if I come back to, you know, pitch something, the pitching is, I'm terrible at this one. I don't know if this is a good question.
Did I put you on the spot?
You did,
we can
because
revisit it.
it's because, yeah.
You're gonna be on this show. I imagine
with this
more.
a lot.
You're not. This isn't your last time.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
you're gonna be a recurring guest.
Okay.
And when you come back, you're gonna do the pitch.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have a person over there with money in their hands.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just because, and like just talking organically between me, it's just because I like to do so many things. It's hard for me to narrow it down. And even people are like, so you have event planning, you have consultation, and then you have this. And it's just like, those are the things that I love to do and I'm good at them. So I want to do them. And it's kind of like people approach me with, I have this, this, and this. How can you help me? I know you're good at organizing and all of those things. So I'll definitely need to.
That's why I'm happy that you've made it here, because it didn't matter that you're going to be like running a little bit behind.
Yeah.
Because we were going to meet today.
Yes.
We have like a lot of overlap, I feel, in what we do in the community, and having education as a foundation.
Yes.
You know, like, I think that's a very key thing in how we can shift mentalities, philosophies, thinking, ways of thinking, behavior.
Absolutely.
Just by having a strong educational foundation. And I do want to get into cultural responsiveness. Yes. We talked about what we were going to talk about before we talked about it. But we're going to go to a quick break, and then when we get back, we're going to talk about cultural responsiveness.